Thank you, and dear colleagues, I'm glad to take a part of this conference, and also I'm glad to present some results of my research, anthropological materials. So, can you see my presentation?
Your screen?
Yeah.
And there it is. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Okay. The Bosporus Kingdom is an ancient state in the North Black Sea region, which arose as a result of unification of Greek colonial cities in the 5th century BC. Not only the influence of ancient Greek and Roman cultures contributed to the development of the Bosporan Kingdom. The ancient state was surrounded by a barbarian population, Meots, Scythians, Sarmatians, etc., and was in constant interaction with them. This led to the so-called barbarization, its mean active spread of barbarian traditions of the Bosporus. A large ancient Phanagoria is an important site for studying the interaction of different cultures. This city played a significant political, economic, and cultural role in the Bosporus Kingdom. It's called the second capital of the state. Archaeological research of the ancient Phanagoria and its necropolis has been going for several centuries. Anthropological materials collected over the past decades have made it possible to use a bioarchaeological approach to study the interaction between Greco-Roman and barbarian cultures. The analysis of stable isotopes of nitrogen and carbon made it possible to characterize the diet of the Phanagorians in the Hellenistic, Roman, and late antique periods. The diet of the most of inhabitants of the city consisted of C3 plants and terrestrial fauna. The Roman and late antique period are characterized by change in nutrition, a decrease in the proportion of protein products, a shift in the values of the carbon data towards C4 plants. There were individuals whose diet included millet, typical for the steppe nomads. On this slide, you can see the difference in isotope values of the bone collagen between Mediterranean and Scythian population. Another marker of the presence of barbarian component in Phanagoria is the finds of deformed skulls. Since it's known that the practice of head modification is not typical for the Greco-Roman culture, the discovery of artificial deformed of the skull in the necropolis of Bosporus Kingdom is traditionally considered as a marker of the presence of a foreign culture element. Deformed skulls are often found in graves associated with Sarmatian culture. The tradition of deformation of the skulls in the northern Black Sea region has existed since the 3rd century AD. It was mostly widely distributed among men and women of Lower Don and Volga region. Researchers suggest that this tradition came along with nomads from east. In the Sarmatian groups of the Low Volga region, the frequency of occurrence of deformed skulls is 70 and about 55% in Kurgans or the Low Don region. The proportion of deformation skulls ranged from 30 to 26% in the total urban group. The researcher Zabelin was one of the first to discover deformed skulls in the necropolis of Phanagoria. In 1820, he discovered a section of the necropolis. The only individuals with deformed skulls were burned. The burials date back to the Roman late antique period. Further research showed a different nature of the presence of this tradition. Persons with trace of deformation of the skull were burned in different parts of the necropolis and did not form section. This is probably due to the fact that the buyers of the tradition were part of the conditional community of citizens. A study of the series of skulls from the excavation of Phanagoria necropolis in 2005 to 2016 showed that the proportion of the skull with deformation does not leave about 19%. Examination of dental pathologies revealed difference in the detection of caries in adults. In the group of the Hellenistic period, caries has recorded in almost half of adults. In the series of the Roman and late antique period, this pathology occurs twice as rarely. The calculus fluctuates slightly and does not exceed 25%. This is also a characteristic of enamel hypoplasia. In children, caries and calculus are extremely rare. In the Roman period, enamel hypoplasia was recorded in 25%. Comparison of our results with the literature data on stress marks in the teeth indicates the similarity between Phanagoria and other antique centuries. Members of the barbarian culture fundamentally different in the frequency of identification of the calculus. Almost half of the individuals in the Sarmatian series have enamel hypoplasia. This difference may indicate a more prosperous childhood in the inhabitants of ancient settlements and cities, as well as fundamental difference in food habits. And conclusions. The specific of nutrition and dental pathologies of the Phanagorians differ from the barbarians of the North Black Sea region. The presence of members of barbarian culture is manifested in the tradition of deformation skulls and the food preference of some people. It's mean use of millet. That's all. Thank you for your attention. And if you have any question, please send me a mail, or you can send me a message in Academia Edu, for example, or chat. Thank you.